So tell me about the oaths of office, because I'm glad that you mentioned this. Not too many people talk about this.
I'm sure it's one of these big glaring issues that I'm surprised more people don't talk about. So Article 16 of the Constitution, state constitution, is very clear that before setting upon your job as an elected official or appointed official, you shall take the oath of office.
Right.
And every elected or appointed official in the state of Texas does this, except an interesting class of people called visiting retired judges.
Yeah, interesting.
And these judges oversee capital murder cases. They see some of the biggest cases you can imagine. Very powerful things. These are not just JP courts. These are life and death situations. And they don't have an oath of office on file.
Right.
And my theory to this is if they did file their oath of office, they would have to pause their retirements. The state retirement system uses filing of the oath of office as a sign that you've gone back to work. And so they've been able to just get their retirements.
I see where this is
and
going.
you know, and come back and make $750 a day, because they make the same amount of money as a district active district judge does, but they're double dipping, right? So instead of pausing their retirement, which is the way the system was intended to be, and you know, the old, I'll give a little bit of history. You know, the old Vernon statutes that predated Chapter 74 and 75 of State Government Code, which governs visiting retired judges, said shall preside in lieu of retirements, or shall bill. But definitely the language was there that you're supposed to pause your retirement.
Right.
And at some point the judges just figured out, hey, if we don't file our oath of office, we can just make $1,400 a day.
So this is a very big deal. There was a case, and one person talked to me about this, and when I didn't quite understand the issue, but he said that there was a murder that took place, and the guy very blatantly murdered the people, and everybody, they had proof and everything, and the attorney was okay with representing him, and basically what happened is he said this judge never took his oath of office. So basically, instead of getting him convicted with the death penalty, they gave him life in prison, which was what he was asking for, because had this one case, had they pressed it, they may have had to release a ton of people, because if you did not take the oath of office, everything that you've done is illegitimate. And I would also say, too, that they also should be sued at that point, too, for falsifying their representation as a judge. But anyway.
And I should add that the Texas courts over this past century have ruled continuously that all judges, including visiting retired judges, so this has actually been settled. This issue came up in Texas Court of Criminal Appeals case called Prieto v. Bail Bonds, late 90s, if I remember correctly, about 1999. And there was a visiting retired judge who basically made a ruling with no oath of office on file, and it was overturned. And that's why it's so bizarre that, how come after this and there's a part of the ruling, and this is the highest court. We have in Texas we have two courts that are equal in power, the Court of Criminal Appeals and the Supreme Court. And so anyway, the highest court said senior judges, which is what they're called, shall take the oath of office. You can read this. It's important to know, because I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, the oath of office, and this is part of the ruling that they made in Prieto bail bonds, the oath of office does not survive the term of office. So there's a reason why the president, when he's reelected, takes the oath again.
Right.
The day that your office term ends, your oath is gone. It does not just magically live on forever.
Right.
And so that's where these judges are unconstitutionally qualified. I don't know if in their head they think, well, I took an oath that one time. No, the day you retired, your oath died.
Right.
Survival of the oath is what the high court talked about, and they addressed this issue. So all these visiting retired judges are double dipping, and their rulings are unconstitutional. I should say they're not constitutionally qualified.
Right.
And we even found a Tarrant County judge who wasn't statutorily qualified. He was being listed as a senior judge when he never requested senior judge status, and that was Darrell Coffey, and he presided over about 100 criminal cases since retiring in Tarrant County. And after our reporting, he was removed from the list of judges that are eligible for assignment. So he's disappeared.
Then this is also, you mentioned the president, the oath of office, he has to retake it.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Barack Obama was sworn in by John Roberts and they fumbled it a little bit? Well, they had to
redo it afterward.
They redid it out of a quote, an abundance of caution.
It's serious.
It's very serious. And we had a congressman from Texas, Pete Sessions. I think there was something with his oath of office, and he took it again. Because any act that he did prior to taking the oath of office
Yes.
was unconstitutional, had no weight behind it.
Yeah.
As you were
Yeah,
saying.
the oath is what gives you the power of your office.
Right.
It is that either verbal or signed oath, that gives you're a judge. And it's interesting. If you're a sheriff and you take the oath of office on January 10th, but you arrest someone on January 9th, they won't overturn that. But judges are held to a higher standard. You can see this through court rulings in Texas anyway, where absolutely, if there's no oath of office on file, those rulings are overturned consistently. But somehow we're allowing. So in Tarrant County, let's bring it back to local news. There's an attorney named Stephanie Rima who's a civil litigator, and she is currently going after some visiting retired judges for the oath issue. There is a visiting retired judge named Bill Harris who's an active family court.
I'm familiar with Bill Harris.
Judge, and so he presided over a case around the summertime. And this gentleman's first name is Derek, and threw Derek in jail for 21 days. Turns out that he had no order of assignment. So that's important because visiting retired judges are unique. They're like substitute teachers, right? They come in and they have limited authority, right? The administrative judge of the region, David Evans, has to give them. You basically become a judge for that period of time, and then you're basically not a judge. You're only so this non-judge comes in and throws this dad in jail. She finds out because she contacts me. She found my reporting. I talked about how you do Rule 12 stuff, and she's all excited. And she files a motion to disqualify him. The good news is that Bill was smart enough to he stepped down from the case. He self-resigned voluntarily. But the Wallach, whoever the judge was that sat in, wrote over that. Did not disqualify.
Maybe Wallace?
I think it's pronounced Wallace or Wallach. Sorry, he's retired.
Okay, gotcha.
I think it's Wallace. It looks like Wallace. I've heard people say differently. But anyway, I've watched all these cases in person, and it's fascinating the lengths to which these visiting retired judges go to cover their friends' asses. And so he basically said, no, your points don't stand, but then Bill Harris got stepped down afterwards. And but anyway, Stephanie's pushing forward with this oath of office issue with I think right now 2 appeals in the family court system. All these visiting retired judges, she's going after the oath of office.
Good.
So this is new.
Well, this is good. This will be great. Something that we definitely want to be following. And thank you for reporting on it, as I'm sure you will.
Yes, we did. We wrote about that, and make a point to just go observe these things because one of them's in Cynthia Terry's court, and you can kind of Cynthia Terry. I think she's probably the most respected family court judge right now amongst a lot of people. She really hasn't done anything that's been scandalous so far. But you can tell she's a little nervous because if this ruling is overturned or any ruling is overturned based on the oath of office issue, that has statewide ramifications. All these visiting retired judges who've been doing this for the past 20 years are going to have their rulings overturned. Yeah.
Do you think it would be enough to have a class action lawsuit against them?
When I was investigating Darryl Coffey, it was very upsetting to think that whatever you think about people, who are charged with crimes and maybe are guilty of crimes, they have a due process that they should be allowed, right? They have a right to due process. Sorry.
Right.
And to have a judge who was not a senior judge assigned as a senior judge and who had no oath of office, my thought was, I wish there was a way I could get a hold of all 100 of these defendants, some of them in prison, and let them know they got screwed over. But it's really such an insurmountable. How do you find these people? You got case numbers, but it is, it absolutely is called for. But how do we bring everyone together? The logistics of finding everyone. Right. I think they would agree to it, but it would take a lot of legwork to find these people.
Well, we wouldn't have to find them all. There would be enough people that would love to do it, and people could join later on. I would assume, but I don't know that for a fact. But that would be very interesting. But the other thing is that lawless judges need to be held to account. They are the people that are supposed to represent the law and make decisions according to the law, and yet they violate the law when they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.